Oh, hey guys, welcome back to Let's Get Dirty Garage. Where today, time to start some prep for body work. Put this off as long as I possibly could, and yeah, guess it's time to start. So we got so much to do. So let's jump in. Let's go ahead and let's get dirty. Is this thing on? Yeah. All right, well, here's the plan. Really don't have one. Well, kind of. All these random panels and the body shell and everything has got to be stripped to bare metal. And then I'm going to put a coat of epoxy primer over everything, seal it up real good. Then we'll do the body work over the top of the epoxy primer, so the epoxy won't allow any moisture in and keep it nice. So that's kind of saw it on the interweb, so must be true. But anyways, so I'm going to use a combination of stuff, combination of DA with 80 grit, and we'll see how fast we can wear out a Harbor Freight DA, and then sandblasting some of the tough to get parts, but like big flat panels like the hood and fenders, tailgate, those types of things I want to do with the DA, so I don't have to take a chance of warping and fun stuff like that. So I guess the best thing to do is just kind of dig in and see what we can get accomplished, and this should be fun. Okay, with 80 grit on a DA, taking off this very first layer of blue and one layer of primer to get to this beautiful Tractor Supply implement orange. That's on half the hood. That was probably a good half hour or 35 minutes, something like that. So I'm going to be at this a long time because I got the orange to do, and then another layer of primer, and then the original paint, and then another layer of primer to get to bare metal. So I got a lot of sanding to do and a lot of parts to do. So bear with me. I'll be with you as quick as I can. Alright, so good 4 hours later. Finally got all 3.5 coats of paint off this hood. Actually, it's pretty flat. There's a couple little bullseyes, like there's one in there, a couple over here, but found that it's a rust hole in the strangest place. So that's going to be not impossible, but delicate to cut out and fix. I have no idea why it would rust through the top layer right there, but there's no other signs of rust anywhere. There's a little crease here where something fell on it, but not bad. Everything can be fixed, but man, that was a long journey for that. So anyways, gotta reassess how we're doing stuff there. But anyways, hood is cleaned up, and we'll get to patching up that hole a little bit and go from there. All right, well, after spending so much time on this hood, I mean, it looks good, but kind of realized, I turned around and looked at the rest of the parts and said, you know, I'm gonna need some professional help. Not that kind of help, but you know, I probably need that too. But anyway, so made some phone calls and found a guy named Danny that from Huntsville Mobile Media Blasting, and he's gonna come by and clean up the rest of this stuff, I hope. So anyways, let's take a look at that, because this is gonna take way too long for me to do by myself. So anyways, let's sit back and enjoy that one. So we'll go from there.
If you want more material, just tell me. We got solid and we got pipe and spot.
right, well, Danny and Billy from the blasters, they did the whole car and all the parts. They did blasting with the with glass beads or ground glass or whatever it was. So anyways, they did a fantastic job. So telling you, if you guys need some sandblasting done in here in northern Alabama, southern Tennessee, give Danny a call, because he did a great job. And that was Huntsville Mobile Media. But body looks good. This is as blast. Did blow a couple hundred bags of glass beads out of it, but everything is cleaned up, and did identify a couple of more places to repair, because with any good blast job, you're gonna blow through anything that's weak. So got everything in there, but yeah, everything I'm happy with the way it came out. Inside looks good. Got a couple of weak spots in the floor up there that I gotta fix. Didn't replace that part of the floor pan before, so and then the big things were down inside these little kickouts or whatever inside the cowl. So couple of spots, those shouldn't be too tough. Don't really have to be finished all that great, but I want to get some metal in there. There's a little bit down in there, but everything looked good. One little spot there, and I think there was something up around the rear window as well. So yeah, a couple of little chunks of missing in there. So we will go after that. Let's take a look at the parts. Like I said, the car was as blasted. I cleaned these up with a DA, and just to get all the last little remaining bits off. But those all look good. Tailgate, fender. Did find a couple of spots that I had to fix. A couple little rusty spots down in the corner, but our smuggler's panel, and then the ever heavy door. So I got all these cleaned up, and I got to get a layer of primer on these things, layer of epoxy. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on the parts that are ready. I'm going to hold off on the hood for a second, just because I got to fix that one hole, and really dreading that. So let me mix up some epoxy, and we'll go at putting a layer on all these parts here. So we'll pick it up from there. All right, let's get some primer on this bad boy. Make sure we get this raw metal all sealed up. So see what we got here. Okay, I'm gonna get a couple of coats on this thing, and then I'll do a rollover and do on the other side and all that fun stuff. But I just want to get this stuff sealed up, so we'll keep going on this, and we'll catch you on the other side. Okay, while we're letting some of that epoxy dry, let's dig into this hood here. Got just a flat piece. I think it matches. Not much contour there, but I'm gonna cut out quite a bit bigger spot there, just because you just never know how far the bad metal goes. Don't want to get too close back into these vents, but let's cut a hole in this beautiful hood. Alright, well, looks like that was right where that whatever type of epoxy or whatever they tried to use to put that together was right on the back side, so hopefully that's not going to cause any troubles in the future. And get this as flat as possible here. And it's just going to have to take one tiny spot at a time, let it cool. And then I'm going to get some shrinkage. I mean, you can't help it, but do as gentle of a weld as we can possibly do, I guess. So that's the goal. Find a good spot to start. Right there. Okay, well I think that'll be good enough to finish off. Got a little bit of a bump here, but we can, it's within finishing range, so that's just a knee knocker of a repair in the middle of a flat hood like that. But we will get this all cleaned up and get some primer on it and go from there. Okay, since we got the parts all primered up and kind of the hood fixed and so on, I'm gonna start tackling some of these spots that I'm finding. Like any good blasting job, you see all the stuff you didn't see before. But this corner piece here in the corner of the cab obviously is kind of nothing left of it. So, and then kind of this piece in here as well. I mean, all these holes and fun stuff like that. So I think I'm gonna have to take this all the way up to here and this one all the way around in there. So I'm gonna get out the template tape and make a template and see if I can make something in that shapeage and see if we can't get something figured out for this corner. So lots of little fun stuff. Okay, after messing around for way too long, I made this piece and this piece that almost fit together. And that should make that corner, just being on that side, being on the inside there. So I'm hopeful that I can force these things together once I get this cut off. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this corner out. I'll try and leave a little flange to, you know, and it's not going to butt weld. I'm just going to lap joint it, and since it's and I think since if this was an exterior panel, I would have probably made this out of multiple pieces, trying to eliminate some of the hammer marks. But it's a funky corner. So anyways, I think we can get out the sparkly wheel of terror and see if we can cut some of this cancer out, and then see if we can't force fit this thing into there. Yeah. So anyways, let's do that next and throw some sparks. By the way, you know, I realized the other day that there's one word in the English language that no matter where it's written, when it's right, it's spelled incorrectly. That word is incorrectly. Okay, let's get some work done. Okay, I'm gonna throw a little wire wheel action at that, throw some rust inhibitor in there, and then we'll see if we can't get this corner rebuilt. So yeah, I'm glad I took that out because that was pretty rotten on the inside. So we'll pick it up at that point. Alright, so we got that all cleaned up and got some rust inhibitor in there, and got some weld through primer on the back of these. So I'm just going to see if we can't get this started tacked into place here and start building this corner a little bit. start up in this corner. Forcing those things together. There's a tricky little spot. Okay, I think we are getting close. Okay, well, I think we are tacked in place, so let's melt this thing together permanently, and we should have a new corner. Okay, so that'll get us a new corner. I'm not worried about them being real pretty. I'll grind it down, clean it up just a little bit, but it doesn't have to be pretty under here. Obviously the fender's covering all this stuff, and the reason that this always rots out down here is, you know, water and stuff gets down into the cowl. So I did leave a pretty good sized drain hole down here, probably a 1/2 inch or so everything can drain out and not collect in the bottom there. So hopefully that will help for any future endeavors, but we'll put a little bit of a grind on that, and then we will call that corner good, and the other side is even worse. So no, I mean, it's just bigger holes. I think we got to do exactly the same thing, but anyways, we'll get busy on that and do kind of a real close inspection on the rest of this beast and see what other troubles await us. But I think we're getting pretty close to wanting to get some primer on this thing. So yeah, we'll get everything fixed up here and go from there. Okay, well, I think you could see from the amount of stuff that hit the pile, there was a lot more that I needed to fix than I realized. So some of the cross member, basically everything that I thought was solid wasn't really all that solid. So anyways, it's a few days later. I think got everything put together, and actually also went ahead and trimmed off the weld flange between the inner and outer rocker panel, just because I bent over one time and it knocked me in the head. So I thought, yeah, it's got to go. So, but I spared you the torture sitting through that by a fat finger in the camera. So anyways, don't just trust me, it turned out okay. Well, I'll show you the end of it there, but let's go ahead and get this thing cleaned up. We got to get some primer on this shell. It's been sitting bare and raw for quite a few days now, so I got to do some sanding and wire wheeling and brushing and blowing and all that fun stuff. Get it cleaned up, get it ready for primer, and we will take that up as the next step. So glad we got everything solid at this point, so we'll go from there. Boy. Alright, so got the weld flanges here off of both sides and ground down. I mean, it's a lot of work for something that 99.9% of the human population will never notice, but I'll notice it, I guess, so it's worth it. But anyways, I think it just cleans up the bottom of those panels, so should be in good shape there. And if you got any other great ideas about flanges to grind off and eliminate, just do me a favor and keep them to yourself, because yeah, that's a lot of work. So anyways, time to clean all this up. I'm gonna take a wire wheel and a DA to all this sheet metal, clean it up, and then get ready for some primer. So let's get working on that. Okay, so we got everything wire wheeled off and sanded and wiped and brushed and blown off and all that fun stuff, and time to throw some primer around. So I'm gonna suit up here, got all the fans I own on high tilt boogie, trying to pull some stuff out of here, and I'm gonna be wearing a this hood thing and a mask, basically not to protect me, but keep the sweat off of the car, because that's what I do. So we'll dig in here and try and get some of this primer on, get this thing sealed up. Alright, well I think we got epoxy on everything. Some random ground glass on most things, but no, think we got it sealed up at this point, so we can get going on some body work and, you know, fun stuff like that. So anyways, I think that's actually going to do it for this edition of Let's Get Dirty Garage. We got a lot accomplished, but we got so much more to do. Time to start that whole body work thing. So yeah, not looking forward to all that dirt and dust and fun stuff. But anyways, hey, listen, if you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think of progress so far. We're gaining on it, but lots more to go. So anyways, appreciate you guys so much, and thanks for getting dirty with me today. We'll see you next time. Take care.